Hey, this is Chris, and I just wanted to show you some of the new broker templates that I've put in .loop. You'll notice I'm looking at .loop at kind of the newer version. If you're still using the older screen, it's all the same information, all the same process. This is just going to have a little bit different look and feel to it. Once we get inside the loop, it's all the same. So I just want to show you these broker templates I put together so that you can have some required documents and some required placeholders so that you as an agent know what documents are going to be needed to close that file in the end. So hopefully that'll save some confusion that's existed and just let you guys be on top of your file a little bit more. I will always come in the back end and make sure everything's there for all goodness gracious. So let's go. So we start off just like anything else. You start off on a brand new loop. So I'm gonna start a loop here. 2020 East Camelback. I'm just gonna use some generic stuff here. There we go. There's my loop. I'm gonna hit continue. Now here's where you get to choose. So this next step is template. In the old version, the template is just right underneath the loop name that you type in. So you'll notice there are five new templates here. Buyer's agent, no property. Obviously, that's for something that you don't have a property for. You are simply the buyer's agent. It's going to have your buyer's advisory, your buyer broker agreement, agency, a bunch of the forms that you would need to start working with a buyer before you even have a property set. I would suggest using this template and getting those documents signed and in a loop, so that when you do find a property, you just copy those documents over to the new loop with the new property address name. That just makes it easier. I kind of always assume that the buyers are going to buy multiple properties from me, so it's nice to have one loop with all their buyer documents that don't have anything to do with a property, and then you got 4 or 5 different property loops for all the 4 or 5 different properties they're going to buy, and you just copy those documents over into the new loops. So that's what that one's about. Buyer pre-78, buyer post-78. Obviously, the difference here is the lead-based paint, addenda and pamphlet and that kind of stuff. And the buyer is going to have just your buyer-required documents. Listing pre-78, listing post-78, same concept. Lead-based paint pamphlets and documents necessary. And this will have the required listing documents. So what I'm going to do is just go into the one that requires the most documents right here so you can see how it all lays out. Listing pre-78. So I'm going to activate that one right there. I got a listing that's pre-78. There we go. I could upload a photo if I wanted to. I'm going to skip that for now, and I'm going to hit done. It's going to create that loop, and you will see it change here in a second. There it goes. Ding! So now this looks like normal red and black dot loop that we've dealt with for a long time. You'll notice first thing, there's a task list that shows up at the very top. That doesn't have any tasks in it right now. I haven't totally utilized that yet, but you'll notice below there are your documents. Now, I have put in 3 different folders, and you can always click on the folder to just kind of close up that folder. So you can see I've got a listing documents folder, a rejected offer folder, and an active contract folder. So when the listing is going live, you're just gathering those that listing information and the ER and all that kind of good stuff. That's this document folder right here. So here you go. You've got all those documents. You've got the KWBP Value-Wide Title ABA that needs to be signed on every contract with every client, period. There's no if, and, or buts. That is from now forward. You have your ER, you have your agency disclosure, market conditions advisory, real estate property disclosure statement, HOA, plant community disclosure, lead-based paint, the lead-based paint pamphlet. Notice this is in here. You need to share that with your clients. This document right here says that you have shared that with them. So it's a good thing to share that with them. You've got your residential input form, and then you have these 3 placeholders that, if you haven't worked with placeholders, they are just simply spots in the loop for documents that you don't create but you need, right? So I don't create the the insurance claims history. I get that from the insurance company. When I get that, I can drag and drop that right in here. Same thing with the tax report. I do create that. I go to Monsoon and pull it off, but it's not something I create within .loop. Same with the MLS active. You go to the MLS, you have that active printout, and you throw it right in this spot. Now, how you do that is just literally grab the document. I'm just going to grab this document that's right down here. This is a PDF. I can grab that and drop it right on top of any of these 3 spots. And when I do that, you notice it'll take a sec, and it'll turn that bold, but retain the template or the placeholder name, so that it's still called the same thing. So you know that that's your MLS active printout. So when you print something out and it's called, like, 64PX92 $, you can still drop it into here. It's going to retain the proper name so that it looks nice in the loop. The rest of these are pretty standard, your normal documents within .loop. Of course, if you have additional documents or you're using your own, you can drag and drop. You can still use the loop the same as you always have. I've just put these in here because this is what you're going to need to close the loop. Now, of course, if it's not in an HOA, you don't need this, right? And that's pretty straightforward. Or if you have some sort of document that's waiving spuds or clue, which I honestly wouldn't recommend, but if you do, then you don't need the clue and you don't need spuds. So that is the listing documents folder. Then if you have a hot listing, which we all do, and you get multiple offers on it, any rejected offer needs to go into a rejected offer folder. It would be certainly nice if you got your seller actually sign the rejection at the bottom, but that's neither here nor there if you don't, but it needs to go in the rejected offer folder. And then we have the active contract folder. So when you do have that active contract, you got it here. Notice I've got a placeholder for the purchase contract. So when your buyer sends it to you, you throw it right in here. And then you go throw your seller's signatures on it. So that will end up being fully executed. You've got a counteroffer here just in case you want to produce a counteroffer. And then you have your HOA addendum, your lead-based paint disclosure, all of that kind of stuff that you're going to get back from that buyer all throughout the contract. I have tried to make this from top to bottom, set up from beginning to end. So you have all your HOA, spuds, all that stuff, buyer pre-qual. That's all stuff that should be done pretty much up front. Earnest money receipt, loan status update should be a couple of days after that. Tax report and MLS pending should be something that you guys do right away. You got home inspection, you got your BINSR, you got your BINSR buyer response there, you've got your title report, green sheet, your final walkthrough, and your final settlement statement. Now, final settlement statement is usually done, actually uploaded by us here at the office, because that comes over with your closing package with your checks. It is signed by the escrow officer. I'd say sometimes 30, maybe 40% of the time, the escrow officer actually emails that to you. If you want to upload it, that's fine. But the true final settlement statement should be the settlement statement that is signed by the escrow officer. We get a hard copy of that in your closing package. So that's how it works. Your final walkthrough or some sort of document that waives it or lets something about final walkthrough, throw that in here. And your green sheet, that's of course what we put that in here as well as your DA. So these are all just placeholders for documents that you will need, and you just drag and drop those right on top of the placeholders. So like here's your loan status update. This happens to be a loan status update here. I take that and drop it on loan status update, and bang, there now it looks like loan status update. So that is the template for the listing pre-78. It has the lead-based paint forms, as you can imagine. The post-78 doesn't have the lead-based paint forms, and the buyers, of course, don't have the listing documents. But that should help you out in your pursuit of making the perfect file and me just giving you a big check mark. So don't worry about any questions. Feel free to ask me if you got any, no transaction is perfect or the same. So I know quirky things go on all the time, and that is something I super enjoy helping out with. So feel free to ask those good questions. That's going to be it for now. We're approaching 10 minutes on this thing, so I'm going to shut it down and look for more information from me later. Thanks a lot. Happy selling. Get out there, kick some butt, and I'll look for your contracts in there. Thanks.